Absolutely. I don't see why not. It's been no secret that I have been a long supporter of the idea of humans going back into space, not to mention going to Mars. In fact, myself and a lot of other people on the internet were making the point, after Neil Armstrong died, that it's been too long. Since 1969, 12 people have successfully landed on the moon. The first being Neil Armstrong and the last one being Captain Gene Cernan in 1972. Since then, no one has been back, and scientific progress in terms of space exploration has become kind of stagnant since then. In fact, I've made the argument, especially since the fall of the Soviets, that the West has just become stagnant and has just been in general decline ever since. But now that Elon Musk is making an attempt to go to Mars, we've got some hope again. And the meme at the time was, it's been too long, it's time to stop fucking around and go to Mars. And my one issue that I take with the idea of going to Mars is the distance and the travel time. NASA estimates that a one-way trip to Mars can last between 7 and 9 months. Realistically, you want to try and get that down to no more than a month. And I say that because I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's an extremely long and dangerous time to be in space unprotected from the various amounts of radiation. A lot of people made the argument last time I spoke about this that, well, people stay in the space station for years on end and they're fine. That's because the space station is still well within Earth's magnetic field and it absorbs a lot of radiation, particularly from the sun. Whereas when you're in a spacecraft, you're more vulnerable to such things. And in order for permanent human settlement on Mars, you need a quick method of transport, quickest as possible, so that you never have to deal with any shortages and you can quickly deal with any emergencies. Because 7 months there and back is a lot of resources and a lot of food and drink that you'll need. And that's not even bearing in mind where Mars is in its orbit. Which, by the way, a year on Mars is 687 Earth days. There's also other things you need to bear in mind about Mars. It's a very hostile environment. Planets-wise, it's definitely the safest one to land on because you're not going to get crushed by the atmosphere like on Venus or scorched to a pulp like on Mercury. But Mars has problems of its own, of which that we don't understand the long-term effects of yet. For example, Mars's gravity is much weaker than Earth's, and its atmosphere is 100 times thinner. And Mars doesn't have a magnetic field. And this is the reason the Martian atmosphere is so thin. The sun has slowly been stripping away Mars's atmosphere for billions of years. It could reach a point where in billions of years from now, Mars has no atmosphere to speak of, because the solar wind keeps blasting it off. And that means human beings will be vulnerable to the solar wind and the occasional solar storm. There are a lot of challenges to face when it comes to Mars, particularly if you're going to colonize it and have permanent human settlements on there. But nothing is impossible. With the best and brightest commandeering the missions, and the people with the biggest drives and determination to achieve it, one day, perhaps in the near future, we can achieve it.